Live. Hi, I'm Mike Elson, founder of voicelessons.com, and with me I have Dr. Matt Edwards. Matt, welcome to the show.
Thanks. Glad to be here.
Awesome. Okay, so tonight we're doing a special show. So while everyone's coming in, Matt, what are we going to talk about tonight?
It's all about learning a new song, what to
All
do
right.
when you find a song you want to sing. And this is going to be kind of geared towards helping beginners figure out, how to start with the text and the melody. And hopefully there'll be some tips in here for more established singers as well.
Awesome, awesome. So there's a lot of different songs out there, a lot of different styles, so many different things to talk about tonight. So I'm super excited to jump on in. So it looks like we got people showing up. So awesome. Let's start with our first one tonight, listening. So you got a song where, how do you break it down? How can I learn the song through listening? And what are the kind of the tips and the tricks to get that done?
Yeah. Well, the first thing to even cover is even back up one step. And as you listen, start kind of paying attention to all the different vocal qualities that exist. A lot of times artists start, they get obsessed with one particular singer and they end up only getting that singer's voice in their head. What you really want to do is try to listen to a wide variety of different voices so you can draw influences from all those different vocal qualities. But what you're also doing is looking for voices that are similar to yours. Right. So, if you hear my speaking voice, you can tell I'm no Sam Smith. So if I'm listening to nothing but Sam Smith and wanting to sing those songs, it's going to be pretty hard for me because my voice quality is just way too deep and heavy for one of those light Sam Smith songs. Now I can make a cover version of it where I could put a whole new twist on it. And that's another thing we're going to talk about as we get into stylizing. But in general, if you're just getting started singing and you're just wanting to kind of sing, just songs by themselves, not even trying to do anything fancy with them, look for artists that are similar to your voice, because if they have a similar vocal quality, they're likely to have a similar range. And that's going to help us with some of the technical issues that will often get in the way. And we're going to talk about those here a little bit later.
So just so I'm trying to put my mind in where am I actually going to do the listening? Where are some places people can do the listening, or what are like the most common popular ones?
Yeah, so I mean, like finding like if you're listening to a song and you're wanting to, digest it and actually work on it, try to find, a quiet and uninterrupted space. The best listening is not going to be done on a subway. You're gonna be doing much better by just kind of hanging out in your room and putting on your headphones and listening. And I'm a big fan of listening to these songs on headphones because you get all the little nuances that you often miss on a Bluetooth speaker, and you really get to hear the panning shifts and things that they do nowadays in a recording studio. That's part of the art and the craft of the song. So, getting there and listening. Now, one of the other, well, we'll get to that here in a second, is isolated vocal
Are
tracks.
you an Apple or a Spotify, or what's your favorite?
I got Spotify. That's what I chose early on in the audio wars. I think I had it before Apple Music, and so I've just kind of stuck with it. But finding it on Spotify, finding it on YouTube, somewhere where the original artist is going to get some ad revenue or other royalties, so that way we're helping out our fellow artists. I think that's one of the important things is don't rip off other people's music, because when you rip off other people's music, it's bad karma. If you want to eventually make money off of music making, then you got to support your fellow artists who are making music as well, right? So if you're on one of those streaming platforms, they're going to get some ad revenue, like I said, or they're going to get payments out from the streaming service. So that's always good karma for you. But so you're going to listen with your headphones, and when you listen, take in just at first just the general mood of the song. That's probably what caught you in the first place. You heard this song and you're like, oh, that's catchy, I like that. And then you go and listen to it again. So you're probably going to listen to a song 3 or 5 times, just kind of going, oh, I really like this, and kind of listening for all the nuances, little things are going to stick out at you. Now, when you decide that you want to start working on the song, you're going to want to start doing a deep dive. And the first thing on the deep dive is let's just listen to what is in the band and how they've created and crafted this song. So first of all, just listen through and listen to the drums and listen to what the percussion is doing. And how is the percussion, powering the song? Is it a driving force in the song, or is it just there to kind of complement the voice? Do the voice and the rhythmic instruments line up? Or are they supporting each other? What's that interaction? Then you're going to want to move up from the drums to whatever the bass is being created by, whether that's a bass guitar, a synth. You're going to want to listen to kind of see how the bass interacts with the voice, how the voice lays over top of that. And when you listen to the combination of the drums and the bass, you're really getting a feel for the groove. what that rhythmic drive is, right? Whether it's more of a slow moving ballad, or it's a dance song, or it's a hardcore heavy metal song, a real angsty, alternatives kind of a song. So you kind of get a feel of that from the drums and the bass. Then what you want to listen to are the harmonizing instruments. And so those are the things that give us harmony. So, melody are the single notes that give us what we associate with the song. So that would be the melody. What you put underneath of that is the harmony. So we want to listen to what those chords are underneath and how those support the melody and support the voice. Are they working with it in a really nice consonant way where they are just supporting the melody, or does it get really dissonant? So a dissonant sound would be where you feel things kind of clashing and then resolving and working themselves out. So listen for what's going on with that. And are you hearing dissonance, consonants? How are those harmonies lining up with the voice? Then go back and pay attention to the voice and think about how it interacts with those instruments. So that way you're taking in the whole picture of the song, because the creator thought of the song that way, as the whole picture and not just the vocals. And I think that's one of the mistakes that singers often make, is they only listen to their part of the song. Whereas, the original artist was thinking about the full picture of the song, and the original artist to record the song was in the recording studio working with all of those instrumentalists and the producer and putting the whole thing together. So they were a part of that process as well. So you want to kind of recreate that for yourself, so you feel like you're really intimately, connected to what was going on. And then what you're going to do is you're going to listen to the voice and start trying to pay attention to how the vocal quality communicates emotion in the song. So if if it's a ballad, a sadder ballad, and you hear more of a breathy vocal quality, well, if you think about it, in most breakup songs, we're vulnerable. And when people are vulnerable, they're not usually talking with a big resonant voice like I am now. It's their voice usually breaks up because they don't have the strength to really talk. So you're going to be listening for things like that. Is the voice bringing in that kind of vulnerability? If it's a real angsty, driven song, it's like an angry heavy metal song, the voice is going to have more edge and buzz to it, or grit to it. And so you want to listen. How does that grit, how does that edge, that buzz feed into communicating that story? And you want to start paying attention to how those things change throughout the course of the song as you're listening to it. And all of these big picture ideas, we're going to dive a little bit more into along the way. And we can start to kind of talk about some of those.
Okay, so let's jump into our next one. I think that's cute. Let's move into the next part. Breaking down the song. We're talking tonight about how do you learn a song. So we just talked about listening. This next part, we're going to talk about the text. So how do you break down the song as it relates to the text or the lyrics?
Good. So after you've gotten that big picture with all that listening, and you've kind of taken in the general gist of how the voice is being impacted by the emotion, or how it's communicating the emotion, now you want to really dig into the text. And so the best way to do this is if you're not using sheet music, and not everybody has to use sheet music, kind of depends. Are you working on a musical theater song where sheet music is standard? Are you working on a jazz standard where, again, people are used to using a chart that has the lyrics and the melody right there for you? Or are you learning a song by another singer-songwriter where there is no sheet music and the creator didn't use it? You're probably not going to use it either. In one of those cases where there isn't any sheet music, you're going to want to find the lyrics. And usually you can find those online if you search for the name of the song and lyrics, and you're going to want to print them out. Now, if you can't find the song, if it's really that unique, then you're just going to have to sit down and type them up and, get them written out, so that way you have something to work with. Then what you're going to do is go through and really kind of analyze the text and see where are the rhyming words, for instance, right? So rhymes are a really big, important part of, most song lyrics. Are they internal rhymes, or are they ending rhymes? So is it that the ending word of each line rhymes with another ending word? Does it kind of skip? So you have like 1 and 3 rhyme and 2 and 4 rhyme, right? I'm talking about line 1, line 3, line 2, line 4. Maybe there isn't any rhyming in the first 2 lines, and then line 3 and 4 rhymes. So you're going to look for those, underline those rhyming words. When you are listening to the song, you're going to want to listen to how that artist is bringing those rhyming words to life. Are they just kind of skimming over them, or are they kind of leaning into them, emphasizing them, bringing them out a little bit? And you're going to want to play with that. Then you're going to want to look at how the artist uses consonants. So are they giving it really strong consonants in everything that they sing, or are the consonants a little bit more lazy where some of them actually fall off? And if they fall off, then you might want to like cross them out a little bit or draw a little dropping line to help remind you that on that text it kind of falls off. Then what I want you to do is think like as a storyteller in this moment, in this mood, in this groove, how does that fall off help communicate the emotion and communicate the mood or the feeling? Because most of the time there's a reason for it. I also want you to then go through and listen to the way that each line is started. We call those the onsets. And are the beginnings of phrases, the beginnings of those lines that you're working through, are they just singing those clean? Are they just doing amazing grace? Are they bringing in a little bit of a breathiness? Amazing. Are they giving it a hard glottal? Amazing. Are they giving it a fry? Amazing grace. Are they giving it a growl? Amazing grace. What are they doing on those onsets? Because there's a whole variety of different things that they can do, that an artist can do, that again helps complement the storytelling, helps drive forward the mood or the groove of the song. So you're going to want to go through and you're going to want to listen to those. And then you're going to want to start making little notes. Like if you're looking at a line, you're like, wow, this is really, sad, then you could write that it's sad to you. It could be, though, what's nice is if you can define that better, like sad like a breakup, sad like a loss, sad like, failing a test, whatever that is to you. Right. So you're going to kind of start labeling what are some of those things to you inside of the song. And then the other thing I want you to do with those texts is then relate it to your life. So if they're saying love is a fairy tale, well, then I want you to think, well, what kind of felt like a fairy tale to you? Like it is this dream of what you thought like prom was going to be, and then it didn't end up being that, or was it actually that? So you could say then on that line, love is like a fairy tale. And then you might put a line off to the side like prom, or put in there, like my wedding day, whatever it was to you. Going through each one of those lines and relating it somehow to your life and how that connects. Then after you've made that analysis work and you've really kind of dived into the text, I want you to go through and just start speaking them. But speaking those lyrics, adding in those things that you found. You can fry into a word. You can let your words fall off. You can find words that you want to emphasize. And you can then start to read it with those emotions that you've identified by going through it. All right. And after you start doing all of that work, then I want you to start singing it a cappella. And as you're singing it a cappella, I want you to slowly start integrating those ideas into it, right? Those fries, those slides, those fall offs, where you're emphasizing pitches. And then I also want you to think about words that you might want to stretch a little bit, or you might want to rush a little bit. And how is that going to factor into telling the story as well?
Awesome. That's some great thoughts to consider when you're learning to sing a song. All of the thoughts on the text. I'm just going to check the chat. Um, hey, Gary, thanks for showing up. We're doing great over here. Thanks for asking. How are you? All right. So jumping into our next one. Again, tonight we're talking about learning to sing a song. We're going to talk about the melody now. So this is my, the favorite part. Usually the vocalist gets to sing the melody, but not always, right? So, what do you got for us on the melody, Matt?
So this is where an isolated vocal track can really help you out. And so an isolated vocal track is where they've either used a computer or they've gotten a hold of the original recordings that they found, and they have put it in a program where you end up with only the vocal. And so you can find a lot of these on YouTube. So if you just search the name of the song and put isolated vocal track or put in a cappella, then you're going to find, a whole wide variety of different songs, and hopefully the song that you're looking for. Now, if you cannot find the song that you're looking for, but you happen to have an MP3 file or a WAV file of that song, you can go over to vocalremover.org. And this is a free piece of artificial intelligence software and app that you upload a copy of the song that you're working on into the app. And then it gives you sliders where you can either remove the vocals and get only an instrumental track, or you can increase the vocals and remove only the instruments and have an isolated vocal track where you only hear the singer. And then you can download and save that file. That probably for somebody who doesn't play piano and isn't using sheet music is the best way to really hone in on the melody, because then you're not being distracted by all the other instruments. It's also going to give you an even more clear insight, clear look into some of those text questions that we were talking about. Because once you have the instruments out of the way, you're going to catch nuances of the voice that you didn't catch in the full recording. So what you're going to do is you want to go through there and start hitting up all the notes and just getting them in your body and singing it through multiple times and making sure that you're holding notes for the right amount of time, that you've got the right notes. One of the big places that people kind of skim over and it always sticks out is in little licks and riffs. So if somebody's doing a little hey, you want to make sure you are actually getting all those pitches. It's not enough to go hey. That's approximating. People like Tori Kelly don't approximate. They hit every little one of those notes all along the way. So you want to go through and make sure that you're learning those notes. Now you can go over into YouTube, and if you click on the cog wheel, you're going to see a setting in there for speed. And you can slow down the song to half speed. I think they have a 0.75 speed. And either on 0.75 or 0.5, you should be able to slow that riff or lick down enough that you can keep going back and repeating it over and over again to learn it. And that's going to help you really commit it to memory. Now, if you're working on a musical theater song or a jazz piece or anything else where sheet music is common, then you are going to want to find a keyboard and sit down at the keyboard of the piano and start plucking out the notes. Because there is some sort of a kinesthetic connection between physically playing the notes and getting your brain and your vocal folds to produce them exactly. Right? I often have singers that will come to me who are having some pitch problems. And when we're trying to help them work through those pitch problems, one of the first things I do is sit them down at the keyboard and show them how to play their melody. And almost always there's an improvement that their body starts to recognize, oh, that interval is only that far apart. Well, that far is whatever it is on the keyboard, but it gives them a visual and a physical connection to the distance between pitches. And when they have that physical and visual connection, it'll oftentimes start to get their voice to respond more accurately than if they're trying to do it by hearing alone. If you're doing it with sheet music, also make sure that you're getting the rhythm right. Because in the sheet music, it's going to show you what's quarters, what's dotted quarters, eighths, all of those things. So, if you're struggling with the rhythm, you might need to clap it out. You might just want to, get a metronome set up and play along with the metronome if you're a better accompanist or can play piano. Or if you play guitar, you can maybe even get it out and try to play out your melody on the guitar. And remember, if it's a musical theater piece, usually the composer wants you to sing the rhythms that they wrote. So they've written those in the page. There are exceptions to that. It's usually pop rock musicals or really pop influenced musicals. So you got to read up on the composer and learn a little bit about him. But, in most musical theater stuff, plan on learning what's actually on the page in terms of notes. When you're working on pop rock material, you have to remember that the sheet music that you find on a website like musicnotes.com is not written by anyone in the band. It's not written by any artist. It's a transcriber. It's somebody that they actually pay to sit down and listen to the song and create an arrangement for piano and to, write it up basically in a music notation software so that they could sell it to singers around the world. So when you're working on melodies that are coming from a song like that, you have to remember that some of those rhythms are approximations. We don't have notations for all the little rhythms that you find or all the little licks that you find and the fall offs and scoops and things like that. So it may look really clean. Like a perfect example of this is Crazy by Patsy Cline. If you look in the music for Crazy by Patsy Cline, it's all very clear. But when you listen to Patsy sing it, she's sliding all over the place, just like the slide guitar that's playing underneath of her. So you want to allow your voice to slide through those pitches. If you're trying to sing it exact like it is on the sheet music, you're actually going to come up short. You're not going to have an authentic performance of that song. All right, so just to recap, if you can, get on over to vocalremover.org. Go ahead and remove that instrumental track so you can listen only to the vocal track. Take your time to get it right. Go on over to YouTube and slow it down if you need to, so you can, hear it and have more time to find every little teeny note. And if it's a sheet music driven style, then go ahead and sit down at the keyboard and pluck it out.
Awesome. Great tip on vocalremover.org. Love that site. So you guys got to check it out if you haven't seen it yet. So let's move on to our next one. This one is technical adjustments. So I always like to say registration, registration, registration. And sometimes there's songs you can't even sing until you've got your voice set up right. But let's assume, first off, that everyone's voice is working pretty well. There's still going to be some technical adjustments, right?
Yeah, there is oftentimes because, vowels change with pitch. So it gets real complicated. I'm not going to dive into it too much, but basically, vowels need to have two frequencies for us to pick up
Did you say
that vowel
valve?
quality.
Valve?
Vowel,
Valve.
VOWEL, vowels, like ah,
What's
a,
the
e, o,
color of
u.
valve?
Yeah. So like ah, a, e, o, u. Each
Okay.
one of those vowels has 2 to 3 frequencies that our ear has memorized and associated with that vowel quality. Okay. And that does not require you to make a buzz. So I'm going to make some vowel quality sounds by flicking the underside of my throat, and you'll hear what I mean. You notice as I move my tongue in my mouth, you start to hear those different vowel qualities. Well, vowels are produced in all that area above your vocal folds. And when we go up in pitch, sometimes the pitch starts getting a little bit higher than where those sweet spots are for the vowel quality. So you have to modify the vowel. So what that means is in the bottom of your range, you might be able to sing ah, but if you take that ah quality all the way up, ah, you notice I got stuck, got kind of funky up there. Well, that's where I got to modify the vowel. Ah. So we change that vowel as we move up, and then we change it back as we go down. So vowel modification often has to happen in these songs, and you'll hear it a lot of times in the artists. So the first thing is to see that maybe you're trying to do a vowel quality different than the original artist. You might want to try matching their vowel quality and see if the note gets easier for you. It could be, though, that your mouth is shaped differently and that the vowel quality that they use isn't the best vowel quality for you. So they might be using a bright ah, where if you used a warmer ah or a more neutral ah, it might actually get the note to come out better. So the first thing I always say is just experiment with vowel quality. Should that vowel be a little bit brighter? Should it be a little bit warmer? So a brighter vowel is ah, a warmer vowel is ah, and then a neutral is somewhere in the middle. Ah, so ah, 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 making just vowel changes. So if you have a note that's not quite coming out, try that. Then you may be a registration issue, and we've talked about that on past episodes. I'm not going to get into that a lot tonight because we've talked about it so much in depth. But if you jump over to our YouTube channel or over to our Facebook archives, you can find plenty of instances of us talking about registration. And registration is a term that we use to describe how the vocal folds are interacting with each other and whether they're giving you a lot of a buzzy quality, an ah quality to the sound, or more of a heady quality, ah to the sound. And when you get up on, any given note in your range, it may be that you're not able to produce the same sound as the original artist did, that your voice is breathy where their voice is really ringy, or your voice is really ringy where theirs is really breathy. So you might have to do some registration exercises or registration work to change up the way that your vocal folds are vibrating to be able to make those adjustments yourself. There's nothing wrong with stopping while working on a song, even when learning the melody, and jumping on over to some vocal exercises that work for you. So for registration, I always have people like blend from one register to another, like ah. So we might want to stop and do some of those fades. And then as we go up the melody and we're trying to sing the difficult notes, see if we can't fade into that. And how does making that adjustment maybe impact the note? Does it make it easier? Does it make it harder? What does it do? So you want to be able to, play and integrate exercises into your learning of the melody. If you find the exercise that works, you're going to want to slow down and start carrying that exercise up to the pitch that you're having problems with. And you're going to want to exercise it for 3 to 5 minutes until that pitch starts feeling really easy. Then you're going to want to try to integrate the words that you're supposed to be using on that pitch, because sometimes the consonants and the vowels get in the way. So the first thing I want you to do, if you notice that once you put the words in, it gets hard again, is soften your consonants. A lot of people overpronounce consonants and they end up getting all the air pressure backed up behind a hard, like, and all of a sudden they feel a tightness in their throat. And if they soften that P to a, all of a sudden air continues to flow and the high note gets easier. So first soften those consonants, and if softening the consonants isn't enough, then start playing with vowel quality and softening of the consonants as well. After playing with enough exercises, you should be able to kind of figure out what it's going to take to get that note to come out. And so then for the next week, what you're going to do is use the vocal exercises you discovered that help you unlock the sound that you need, and then jump back into the song and try to apply that new sound to the song itself. All right. If you're getting stuck and you're not sure what to do, make a recording and then listen back to yourself another day, not the same day. Make a recording and then just walk away from it and come back and listen in the next day, because then your ears have had a chance to like just clear that sound that they've been hearing over and over again, and you're going to hear things new. There really is something to hearing something with fresh ears. You walk back in. I remember working in a recording studio. We'd be working on a song for 6 hours, and at the end of the day, like, I think this sounds good, but I need a break. And then you would come in the next morning and be like, oh wow, that bass line doesn't work. And then you go through and you would change it up, right? So it's always nice to walk away and then come back to the song. And so, doing this process of jumping back and forth between technical exercises and the trouble spot should help you start to eliminate the trouble. And that's really important, because if you just continue to sing a song with a note that's hard for you to sing, your body's actually going to start to memorize doing it the hard way. And it's going to be really hard to make it easy down the road. So you're better off teaching your body how to make sounds or sing a note the easy way first. And then as you get it to, be easy, your body's going to get that memorized, and then you won't have to go back later on and go through the struggles of making a correction in something that's built into your muscle memory.
Awesome. That is great advice. Learning something, learning just not to do it the wrong way the first time. Wow. I mean, imagine that. I'm sorry. I'm just being sarcastic. Okay, guys, let's jump into our next one here. Learning a new song is what we're talking about tonight. We're going to talk about stylizing the song. Okay, so what do you mean stylizing the song? Can you break that down?
Yeah. So, if you just sing the notes and the words on pitch, amazing grace, how sweet the sound, it's kind of blah. It's kind of boring. It's kind of robotic. So what you have to do is really go in there and start to figure out how to nuance that melody to give it different sounds, right? I could do amazing grace, oh, how sweet the sound. I could do amazing grace, how sweet the sound, right? You could really slide things. Amazing grace, which again gives it a different feel. So that's what I mean by stylizing, is how you slide into things, how you use your vowels, what tone qualities you bring into it. Now, I think one of the big mistakes the singers make is they oftentimes, when they're learning a new song, they listen to only one version of it, and they get only one person's version of it glued into their ears, and they keep trying to replicate that version of it. And that ends up, just being a carbon copy of the original. Now, if you're a new singer, that's fine to start there. That's a great, for a lot of people, a great place to start is you find the artist who sings like you, get addicted to singing their songs, and you learn a lot. But eventually you're going to want to branch out, because we want to find your voice and not just an imitation of somebody else's. To do that, what I always suggest is to try to find several cover versions on YouTube of other singers performing the song. And then what I want you to do is go back and get a second copy of your lyric sheet or your sheet music and grab some colored pencils. And what I want you to do is to sit down and notate out every little thing that you hear each artist do. So do you hear like an artist is scooping? Well, you're going to make a little scooping sign. Pardon me, a little scooping sign on each one of those notes that you hear them scoop. If you hear them falling off frequently, write a little fall off line. If you hear vibrato coming in, write a little squiggly line. If you notice that they really accent certain words, underline those, right? Anything you notice, mark it up. Then switch singers. Go to like the second cover version you found. Get a different box of color or a different color of a colored pencil and do the same thing again. And after you've done this with 5 different artists, you're going to have on your lyric sheet or in your sheet music all the different possibilities that you could choose in this song to bring it to life and to get it out of that robotic phase. Then the next and final step is you're going to get a highlighter, and you're going to go in and highlight the choices that you like the best. And then you're going to start singing those choices. All right. If you're not sure which ones you like the best, then just go through and sing each version of it, right? Sing the yellow version, the green version, the red version, the blue version, the red version. Then go back and grab that highlighter. And after having sung through them, mark the ones that you like best. and then go through and start singing the highlighted version. And what's great about this approach, the color to pencil approach, is it teaches you how to absorb multiple influences to create your own style. That way, you're not going to be a carbon copy of anybody. You are going to be the amalgamation of all of these people that you've been listening to. And that's how you're going to find your own unique voice. And eventually, what's going to happen is you're going to start picking up things from artists on different songs. And you're going to realize, oh, I really like how that artist morphed that vowel in that song. I actually want to put that over into this song because I think that would sound cool. And you're going to put that in. You might be like, I really like the way that this person growls into their notes. I want to put some of those growls into this song, right? And again, you end up becoming a combination of all of the people that have influenced you. And if you think this is problematic, you're thinking, but I don't want to be a copycat. You're not. I want you to go pick up the book, Steal Like an Artist by Austin Kleon. Because in that book, you're going to find tons of quotes, hundreds of quotes of other artists talking about doing this exact same process I'm telling you about. Except they're going to tell you about doing it either as a guitarist or a piano player, or doing it as a visual artist or as a poet or as an author of short stories or novels, right? Artists have been doing this for centuries. It's only the mass media that makes us think that artists just come out of a vacuum with no influences. The truth is, everybody has had influences who have made an impact on them, whether it's a producer in the recording studio, their bandmates, a vocal coach, their parents, and the music that their parents played around the house, the music that they listened to with their friends. So don't be afraid of those influences, absorb them, and start playing with them. And that's how you're going to discover your own authentic voice.
That's great. I love the colored pencil project, I will call
Yeah,
it. So
a lot of fun too.
yeah, that's a great one. So let's jump to our last one tonight. Again, we're talking about learning a new song, and this one is kind of the last step, putting yourself out there. So, what does this mean, and how do you go about doing this?
Well, a lot of singers, once they learn a song, they don't just want to keep singing it to themselves in the bathroom or in the shower or in the bedroom.
Shower session is perfect.
Yeah, they want to actually sing it for other people. And so that's what I mean by putting yourself out there is at some point in time, you're going to want to start singing for others. And so if you're, new to public performances, I always think a great place to start is a karaoke bar or open mic night, right? Because in both of those settings, people are just taking turns getting up and singing, and everybody knows it's a mix of amateurs and professionals. And so there's, a lot less judgment. People know people are just getting up to try things out. What's really nice about karaoke is it's often loud inside of the restaurant or the bar, so people aren't focusing on every little mistake you make. They're just listening to the big picture. And you need to get up and sing the song and performance many times before it's going to feel really, really good. Most of the big artists that you admire, they've been rehearsing for hundreds of hours, whether it's rehearsing before going to the studio, rehearsing before they go on tour, or just having, other performances where they're just trying to tighten things up in a rehearsal before that performance. And then, of course, all their performances. And then you might see them on the 100th time that they've gone through this song and you think it's perfect. And it probably is, but it didn't just happen overnight. So, go try out a song at a karaoke night. Go try it out at an open mic night. Then, if you are in a big city, go to another neighborhood and go sing at 2 places in that neighborhood. Go to another neighborhood the next week and do the same thing. And just keep getting it up on its feet, because each time you sing it in front of people, it should get easier for you. And then if you're a social media person and you're doing TikTok, or YouTube or Instagram, and you want to try to do a little self-tape of yourself performing, go for it. Put it out there. Just know the internet trolls are always going to have something negative to say. All right. There's constructive feedback, which is, I think you're a little flat there. And, I bet you if you could easily change that, and it's going to make it really killer. And then there's going to be the person that gets on there and says, you sound like Kermit the Frog. Well, blow those people off. Those people are just in there, just being mean, just trying to trash other people, hurt other people's feelings. They're mean-spirited people, and their feedback is useless. Right? They're really doing it just to try to get a rise out of somebody or try to ruin somebody's day. So just be aware that in the social media space, that's pretty common to get nasty comments and down votes and all that stuff. But, that's a risk you take in order to get hurt. And so, I wouldn't go putting things on social media until you've had some successful performances in a local venue. Because the great thing is in the local venue, it's a couple dozen people. Maybe 100 people. It's not, 10 million. So take the low risk strategy first, and then work your way up to the bigger risk strategy. And though, but if you've been performing a lot, you're starting to feel really comfortable, you're getting a lot of great feedback. Social media is a great way to put yourself out there and maybe find connections to either do bigger contests online, in-person contests in your area. There could be people in your area who will see you singing on Instagram and realize you're nearby and have you come and sing at their winery or at their brewery or at their coffee shop, right? You have to get yourself out there in order to get gigs that actually pay you. So if that's your goal, go work through that process. And there's other people online who have got tons of great advice. So how to get your music heard is a great search term, and jump on over to YouTube and you can find all kinds of tutorials and ideas on ways that you can share your music with others.
Awesome. Okay, so everyone, thanks for tuning in. Tonight we discussed and went over many different things and steps to go through learning a song. So Matt, any final thoughts for everybody?
Yeah, I mean, if all of this is interesting to you, new to you, and you've never thought of music this way before, I do want to tell you about an online course I created that I think that you might really like. And the course is called Singing with Style. And Singing with Style walks you through all of these things I just spoke about and more. It's a whole 4-hour course. We filmed it out in LA, so it's in 4K studio quality work. It's not like you're watching something I filmed here in my basement. And I'm going to take you through all the different possibilities for bringing a song to life. And then I even give you exercises that you can work on. And I give you guided listening videos where I walk you through some of your favorite songs and show you how the artists you admire are using these tools. So if you want to learn more about some of the things I was talking about tonight, jump on over to the website, check it out. It's on a special sale right now. I believe it's $97. It's not going to be that price forever. A lot of people have gone through this course, tell us this is at least a $300 course. And I'd love to charge $300 for it. I wanted to make it available to people for this holiday season at a price that most people can afford. So $97. Go on over and check it out. And if you really want to learn more about vocal function and how your voice actually works, our other online course is How the Voice Works. And it's on a special sale price right now of $47. Again, it's another course that people have told us we should be selling for $400 or $500. But we want to make sure that artists all over the world have fact-based information about vocal function. So we're running it on this special offer of $47. It's not going to last long. So if you think you're interested in learning more, jump on over to the website and you can find all kinds of extra details about it.
Awesome. Okay, and then I think the last news is it's holiday season, so happy holidays, everyone. We're not going to have shows for the next 2 weeks. We're going to take off, so we'll see you guys next year. But thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Leave any questions. If you have any questions, drop them in this chat, and we'll see you guys next year.
Yeah, see you next year.
All right. Take care.